Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we have some things of a sentimental nature, others that we may find intellectually stimulating by virtue of their mechanical design and function. Still others appeal to our appreciation of beauty by some unique character or seldom seen quality. Some items linger for a whisper, a hint of a familiar time gone by. Things that we collect. That's what we're going to talk about today. There are several items out in front of you, but I had one in particular in mind for this video as the sort of centerpiece or jumping off point to talk about this subject, because I have been carrying this coin around with me now for a number of years, and I cannot exactly pinpoint how long that has been. It could have been with me since I was a child. I do remember at one point, seems like it was at Christmas time when I was a young child, being given a silver dollar. I don't know the likelihood, though, that that silver dollar would have been made during my birth year. And of my memory of that, I'm guessing that would have been more the mid to late 70s by that point. And also, this coin looks very used to me. I don't know a lot about coins or collecting them or anything like that. I know that by looking at that edge, and that is ridged or knurled, whatever you would call that, somewhere to that. I believe this is called the clad, or clad is what this is made out of. It's sort of got a base metal that then has the outer metal sandwiched on either side. Whatever that word means, I remember learning it in grade school. Liberty, in God we trust, which of course here in the United States of America, that is very important and has always been on the money. Seems like there have been some arguments or battles trying to take it off in recent decades. I don't know if that has ever worked for those trying to do it. Seems like the last I heard, maybe they were upset because it had been moved, or someone. I don't mean to put myself in one group or the other. Of course, I do trust in God, so I think it should be on the money. I don't have any problem with it. But they had moved it, the Treasury Department, whoever, had moved it to the outside maybe, somewhere, and somebody was offended by that. I do remember that. But I have collected this and carried it around for years now, and I don't even remember when I acquired it. Could have been as a child, could have been as an adult. It looks well used to me. And I've simply kept it because it had my birth year on it. And you don't see silver dollars, even though this isn't a silver dollar, this is just a $1 coin. Still colloquially known as a silver dollar, I believe, but doesn't have any actual silver content, I don't think. E pluribus unum, which means something like out of many one, so united country. Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was a military leader during World War II and two-term president, 50s into the 60s. But I have no great sentimental feel for anything about that other than the year that it was made. I've got some other items here that I have collected, which were given to me. This one is of interest to me because of the local Oklahoma City advertising, but it was also a gift from my cousin Andrea. It's in really good shape. Local advertising ashtray. So, of course, that's the kind of thing which will accumulate because when somebody gives you something like that, somebody who's important to you, just like this MGM Grand ashtray that was given to me by my mother, then of course you tend to keep those things. It's like a lighter here. I think this one may be, no, not brand new. I've got two of these that were given to me by my mother. I think they belong to my dad, but I don't know that he ever used either one. So occasionally I'll fuel that up, use it. Something that I hope at some point to pass on to somebody in the family. Kids, grandkids, hopefully while telling them a story about their Pawpaw Charlie. Who I'm going to have to stop and think. Yeah, my oldest grandson, he met my dad. But the majority of this generation of my grandchildren will not have met my father. Talked about my dad a lot on this channel. He passed from Huntington's disease back in 2017. Anyway, so a lighter like that, always sentimental, makes sense why you would collect that. Or this Red Crackle ashtray. I think it's probably advertising. Don't know for sure, but looks like Crown Royal to me, but it would be an odd color, I think, for a Crown Royal advertisement. But a portable ashtray that belonged to my grandmother, also given to me by my mother. And I don't think it was ever used, but just the fact that it was amongst her stuff to me, really cool. Something that I cherish and will always be part of my personal collection. And hopefully when the time comes when these things are no longer mine, but somebody is dispersing what used to be mine, hope that some of my, like I said, children, grandchildren would find something like this interesting and want to have it for their own for a while till they could pass it down to somebody. There are other items that always just stack up, sit around because they're curious, because you can work on them, because maybe there's a project you think you can do. That's why we've got a few of these lighters that have just sat in the background for a while. Here we have a pocket watch fob, which was given to me by my Uncle Dave when I was a young man. This belonged to his father, my Grandpa Hudson, who I never met. I've done a video on this item alone before, a few years ago. It's an advertising item, but my grandfather worked in road construction, helped build Lake Eufaula, that kind of stuff, moving a lot of dirt. And then I learned later from my Uncle Paul that he was also a sharecropper before that. And when they would go from where they lived there in Asher down to Sulphur, he would always stop, or it seemed like maybe they were going somewhere south of Sulphur, but on the way back he would always stop and get some sulfur water to drink. My Uncle Paul told me. He died a relatively young man, was in the hospital for cancer. It supposedly beat the cancer right down here in downtown Oklahoma City. St. Anthony's Hospital back in the mid 1960s, 1966, I believe. Caught pneumonia, died of pneumonia, supposedly. I always wondered about that. But that belonged to him, passed on to me by my uncle. Really cool. Obvious why I would collect something like that. And then, of course, you've got items like the Cygnus lighters. You guys know how I feel about those. Mechanical design and ingenuity. The appreciation I would have for this Zorro. But, you know, that's the thing about a lighter that you use. You know, you don't really need to, I don't think, consider that as just something that you collect if it's a tool you use. I wonder about the validity of collecting things because I'm not interested in having idols in my life. Chasing things that aren't necessary or things that are inappropriate. So the tool feature, the fact that lighters are a tool that can be used, that's always a plus to me. It's not something that's just sitting around that you're admiring. But of course you do run that risk with any kind of item that you can admire. It could be an idol to you. One of the most appealing elements about buying, selling, repairing old lighters, take a lighter that is not working, seized up, whatever it may be, flint frozen in the tube. But while a lot of people may look at that lighter and think it's useless, it can be rehabilitated, it can be redeemed, it can be usable, it can be useful. And also, to me, one great element about working with old lighters is they're light. And being light, just as with every light, I think that every light should point us toward Jesus Christ, the true light, which gives life to every man coming into the world. Until next time. Press and twist.